the role reversal and the role changes when you're caregiving and caring for your parent, our parents. So like I said, that's what this video today is about. If this is something that you would love to hear about and would definitely need to hear about, make sure that you, of course, subscribe to this channel. If you know somebody else that's caregiving for their elder parents and they need to hear this, share this out with them. Do not hesitate to do so. Feel free. So let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, when it comes to caregiving for your parents, the roles will change. I, of course, facilitate caregiver support groups every month throughout the month. And I can't tell you how many caregivers are working with their parents, and they're, of course, with the issues that's going on, a lot of them have memory loss. Some may have had strokes or just old age and that kind of thing as well. But at some point, the roles will change. You will be stepping in as the caregiver to maybe possibly to dress them, to bathe them, to help feed them, to of course drive them around because they can no longer drive. All their independence at some point, a lot of it will be, of course, dwindling down, and of course going to you or whoever the caregiver is. And like I said, that balance shift and the role reversal within that, because of course you become the so-called parent while they become the child. I guess I put it that way. I know that's not how you may want to look at this, but a lot of the caregivers, like I said, that I've talked to, that I've, of course, did support groups with, this is what they all, of course, tell me about, and this is what they all face. And I've, of course, seen it firsthand as well. Because, like I said, at some point when your parents are getting, whether it's just old age, even if it's old age, at some point they're going to be no longer able to drive. At some point, they're going to need someone to come in to help them clean, to help them cook, to help them get dressed, to help them bathe, even if it's not a memory loss. Because I know with memory loss, those things go a little bit quicker, and of course, a lot of things have to happen at once. But like I said, those are some of the things that your parents' independence will, of course, come into question, especially when it comes to the finances, whether they can take care of the household bills and all those types of things. Like I said, I hear this a lot. And like I said, I know you don't want to look at your parents as being children, I guess I put it that way, but depends on the illness, that's how it will feel to you. When you're the one doing everything and taking care of them and those kind of things. Like I said, there's been no caregiver, there's been all, not all, but the caregivers that I deal with across the board who are taking care of their parents, this is exactly how they explain it. It feels like they're taking care of a big old kid, or kids, if it's mother and dad, mom and dad. So like I said, definitely there, but like I said, I know this is a hard thing to deal with, and I know there's a lot of emotional and mental toll on you as a caregiver, because you're so used to your parents, of course, being the ones who took care of you and took you to your prom, and helping you pay bills at some point too, I guess, as an adult and that kind of thing. And of course, giving you some wisdom, sharing some things with you and how they made mistakes, and teaching you some lessons and those types of things. But like I said, at some point, that may all dwindle down because they're getting more fragile, they're needing more assistance, and like I said, you or whoever the caregiver will be will have to step in. And like I said, I know those roles will be reversed, and like I said, it may not be a shock that you know that these things are going to happen, but emotionally and mentally, these things can definitely take a toll, especially if you don't deal with them. I guess I put it that way. Yes, I can sit here and talk about the role reversal and how it feels when you're caregiving, but if you're dealing with your parents and you're so used, like I said, to them being the authority figures, then you have to step in to be the authority figure and tell them what to do. Like I said, that is going to take a toll on you. You're going to, there is sometimes, of course, I can't say sometimes, a lot of times, I hear this from a lot of my caregivers. They talk about how their parents sometimes put that guilt trip back on them. You can't take this from me because I'm your parent, and those kind of things. Sometimes you're going to hear that. You're going to hear all types of things, I'm pretty sure. Some of them have been cursed out, which I'm sure some of y'all may already been cursed out. I don't know, but like I said, definitely, like I said, when it comes to that caregiving role, and you trying to provide care for your parents, and like I said, once that role reversal comes and you're the main caretaker person, parent per se, and they've dwindled down to become the child or the one that needs the help a lot per se, like I said, you're going to have to learn how to deal with that on your own end as well. I know that's why I talk about self-care a lot, as far as self-care, taking care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, to make sure that you're able to, of course, to deal with these kind of situations when they come. Yes, of course, I'm a social worker and a certified life coach. You can let me know. We can work together, or you can, of course, definitely go out and seek a therapist or a counselor. Like I said, some of the caregivers that I have, that's who they have that they're talking to and helping them with this role reversal and those types of things. But like I said, you're going to have to deal with it because it is going to come. Regardless as to how much you try to, oh, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, it will happen at some point once your parents are needing more assistance and you're the main caretaker for your parents. That thing is going to come. You're going to have to figure out what to do and how to handle this situation, because you are at times they're going to have to talk to them like their children, because they may not be able to hear you anymore, or they may have dementia and they may not be able to understand the words that you're saying because they're too complex, those types of things. So at some point that will happen, just like you're working with your kids and having to slow it down and use simple words. At some point that will come into play. Like I said, at some point you will have to drive them around and do all those types of things, or hire someone to do however you want to do this. Like I said, that's a choice that you have to make, but just keep in mind that the roles will reverse. It's unfortunate, but we know that, or I know that, working with caregivers and seeing this happen time and time again. If you're becoming the authority figure, taking over their finances, taking over their household bills, all this kind of thing, paying their bills for them, all that kind of stuff, helping them, well, coming in to clean, hiring someone to come and do so, then you're the main caretaker of your parents at that point, regardless as to whether they're your parents or not. That's the role you're going to be in as a parental figure, because that's how it looks to everyone outside. I guess I put it that way as well. So I have 5 things that can, of course, like I said, help you kind of navigate this situation. The main thing, like I said, if you're having a hard time with this, the main thing I want to say is to definitely seek your own help. Whether it's someone like me, a social worker and a life coach, or if it's actually a counselor or a therapist, seek help for yourself so that you can deal with these situations and not become so overwhelmed and so much in overthinking the situation and that kind of thing as well, that you of course burn out and you stress yourself. We definitely don't want that to happen at all. Like I said, that's not number one, but I'm telling you that as a professional to make sure. And being in this situation before with my own mom, she was on hospice. She passed away back when I was 21 years old of cervical cancer. And of course, I saw how, even though I wasn't her main caretaker at the time, because my grandmother, she was in the household with her. I was still in college actually. So of course, I was out there just about every day, every weekend to help take care of her and that kind of thing as well. I saw how those roles reversed, and I see what kind of help you have to do with your parent. Like I said, I saw this firsthand with my own mom for at least a year or two or so. Even though I was young, I still had to learn how to deal with that situation too. So that's why I'm telling y'all these things. So let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, I have 5 things that I want you all to think about as you go through this journey with your parents, and as the roles reverse and you're trying to figure out what you can do in these kind of situations. Number 1 is to don't treat them like children. I know I've said that before, but of course, that's how it's going to feel to you. I guess I put it that way, that you're talking to a child over and over again. It may feel that way, but don't treat them like children. Don't say you're my child or that kind of, don't say that at all. I guess I put it that way. Because they still have some independence, I'm sure, dignity and those kind of, and I'll get farther into that as well. But they still have those things left as well. And when I'm talking about dignity and those kind of things, and of course, don't treat them like children, because like I said, they're still adults. You don't have to talk down to them at all. Sometimes you may have to simplify what you're saying, not use big words, or not use long sentences, or not give too many tasks at once. Yes, you may have to do that. Don't call them a child, but like I said, you may have to take some of the actions to, like I said, navigate this situation. It's going to feel like you're treating them like children at some point. I guess I put it that way. Like I said, you don't have to tell them that at all. Like I said, but don't just come out and, oh, baby, this, or oh, do you hear this, that kind of thing. Talk to them like just like an adult, just like me and you are talking, but just simplify things and make things easier for them to understand. And while I'm talking about the dignity and the independence, number 2 is ensure that they retain a level of dignity. Don't just talk over them when you're at the doctor's office with them and when the family's talking about them, that kind of thing. Include them in the conversation. Include them in all the decision making, unless they have dementia and they have a memory issue and they cannot no longer make decisions for themselves. Otherwise, they're still able to make those decisions. So include them in on that. Don't just leave them out because they had a stroke or because they have the beginning stages of dementia or that kind of thing. The beginning stages of dementia, they can still, of course, understand to a certain extent. Depends on the type of dementia they have. They can still understand. They can still talk to you and that kind of thing. So don't talk over them when you're at the doctor's or talking to other family or friends like they're not even there. They don't even exist. Treat them with dignity. Number 3, it's always good to have open conversations about the sudden change in their lifestyle. This is a hard conversation, especially for our elders, to hear that they have to rely on you for transportation, for cooking the food, for doing whatever it is. A lot of them, of course, just like us, we don't want to ask for help from somebody else. But then when you have to give them that help without them asking, like I said, that's going to take a toll on them as well, and that's going to be a sudden lifestyle change for them. Your father maybe the one used to driving the car and that kind of thing. At some point, he may no longer be able to drive that car, and you all or someone's going to have to either take them or get away for them to get to back and forth to the doctor. Like I said, that's something to think about. But like I said, definitely have that conversation with them as long as they still have memory left. Like I said, I know there's not everything is not memory loss, but like I deal with a lot of people that their loved ones have dementia, some type of dementia and memory loss. So at some point, you may not be able to have that conversation about the sudden change in their lifestyle. But as early on as you can to start having those conversations, have those conversations. As long as your parents can understand what you're saying. And the memory loss haven't gotten too bad. Number 4, help them stay financially independent. And not just financially, but independent altogether. This goes along with their dignity as well. And like I said, not treating them like children. They still have independence. They can still do some things for themselves. Don't just come in and ravage the whole entire household and take away their ability to, of course, pay their own bills or to go shopping at the grocery store or take away their debit card or check book or that kind of thing. Let them continue to do that until they can no longer make decisions to do those things or they can no longer figure out how to pay those things. Let them do that. And when it comes to the being just independent, period. Let them do that. If they can still dress themselves, feed themselves, don't just come in, like I said, treat them like children. Make sure that you give them as much independence as you possibly can for as long as you can. Don't just come in and just take over and do everything for them. And even though they can still cook and clean, do that kind of, you just coming in as hired cooks and all this kind of stuff. Don't do that. Let them do that for as long as they can for themselves until they can no longer do it at all. The last and the final one, number 5, is to be empathetic and understand their needs while respecting their wishes. Like I just said, being empathetic, and of course having dignity for them, and of course treating them like they still have some independence left. Like I said, that's being empathetic and understanding their needs. And they may tell you that they don't even want your help. Whether you're the power of attorney or not, they may tell you that they don't want your help. And that is true until they can say that until there comes a time where they can no longer think for themselves and take care of themselves. They become incapacitated according to the doctor or the court. That's only when you can step in as a power of attorney. Up until then, they can tell you what they want and what they need. And if they're refusing your help, then that's another situation you have to deal with. But they can refuse that all that they want until, God forbid, something happens where you have to step in and the authorities have to step in to help them. That does happen at times as well. I've seen it happen to a lot of the caregivers that I have. My mom, my dad, they don't want me to help. And while you're still trying to go over there every day and do things for them and that kind of thing, but they can tell you they don't want your help. There's nothing you can do about it until, like I said, sometimes a situation has to occur where you have to step in, you are forced to step in. And the hospital, the authorities, they are too. If it's a fall or that kind of thing, sometimes that the situation has to get that bad in order for them to accept the help. It's unfortunate and it's definitely sad, but like I said, they still have their own wishes and their own needs that they want, y'all. Like I said, I know that's hard to hear. I talk to caregivers every day almost. And like I said, these are some of the things that they are grappling with, and it's a hard situation. But we have to know that as, I guess, as their children, I guess as their caretaker as well, that we cannot just force services upon them, especially if they don't want them. And like I said, especially with our men, our fathers, a lot of times those are the ones who are giving you the main issue. I don't need any help. I'm still the man of this household. I can still take care of this house and keep my wife safe and that kind of thing. Like I said, men have a lot harder time, it seems like, from what I work with the caregivers, and giving up their power. I guess I put it that way. Even if it's causing them issues and stress and all that kind of stuff, and they have a harder time, like I said, from what I've seen and what I've dealt with these last several years of, like I said, giving up their power. That's because men are usually socialized into being the father figure, being the head of household, being the one who protects and supports the family. And when your father, when he gets to that point where he can no longer do that, that is going to take a toll on him too. It's not just on you, it's on your parents too. They'll have some things that they're thinking about. That's why I said I have those conversations with them. As long as you can, and as long as they have memory and can hold a conversation, have that conversation with them. Don't be afraid to have. I know these are hard conversations to have, but somebody has to have them. So with that, y'all, like I said, I'm going to get my butt off here because I do have to get my day started. But like I said, definitely just think about the things I'm saying in this video. And like I said, if this is talking to you, if you're caretaking for your parents and you're trying to figure out how to deal with this role reversal, I hope that this helped. Again, this is Tonetta Clay, your social worker and your coach. Like I said, here to, of course, provide you with some information that can help you navigate the roles in caregiving a little bit better. I hope this helped you. Let me know in the comments if this helped and if there's something else that you want to hear when it comes to the world of caregiving. Like I said, just let me know. And have a good one, y'all. Peace out.